Hello, I'm Kirsty, for those of you who don't know me, and the purpose of this video is just to share very briefly about my faith as a Christian. So that encompasses two things really. One is that I've got a relationship with God that affects my day-to-day life on earth. So for example, there are times in my life where I suddenly feel like I need to do something, and it's usually because God is saying, I want you to go and do this. And that happens differently for different Christians. I've got friends who get pictures of things and I don't have that. God tends to talk to me through emotion quite a lot. So for example, there was a time when my good friend Zoe was singing in a concert and I was a terrible friend. I was not planning to go at all. And then about just over an hour before the concert started, I suddenly felt, no, I need to go. I need to be there. So I rang a mutual friend of ours and they happened to have a spare ticket. So I grabbed a dress and my high-vis jacket, ran, got on the bus, got off the bus in the middle of Bristol, and there, broken down in the middle of a street, midwinter in the pitch black, was a different friend, Robbie, whose car had run out of battery, couldn't put his lights on, and there was just traffic going everywhere. And I thought somebody was going to hit him. But fortunately, there I was in my high-vis jacket, and I could steer the traffic around his car. And there's been a few instances where God's sort of, spoken to me and said, right, I need you to go and do this. And I've just felt this sort of need to do it, a need to go and act. So for example, there was a time, again, when I was in the middle of Nailsea, and there was a lady that I knew because her kids had come through all of our children's groups at Nailsea, and I saw her go into the bank and I thought, I've got to take her a hot chocolate. Which was quite an awkward thing, to be honest, walking into a bank where somebody's clearly in a meeting with somebody and just walking up, hi, have your hot chocolate. And again, later I got a text from her saying, Kirsty, my bank card was lost, so I cancelled it, but they cancelled the wrong one. We had no access to our money, and I was starving really because I hadn't eaten all day, and I was going to go and pick up my kids, and I was really stressed, and that really helped. So there's like particular instances where God's like, okay, right now I'd like you to do something, and part of being a Christian is having that relationship with God where I listen, and we sort of work as a team in life. And part of it is just day to day. I sometimes think it must be a little bit like married couples. You've got somebody else there that you consider all of the time, and I talk to God about my plans and what I'm doing and what's happening in the day and what I see around me, and we live it together. So quite a bit of my faith is about like day to day and decision making and what job I'm going to have and where I'm going to live, and we make those decisions as a team. And then the other part of my faith is the belief about what's going to happen when I die and the whole spiritual realm. So in terms of that, I think God created the world. I think there is a God, and I think he's outside of time and space, but also able to, he's here living it with us too. And I think God is a really good and loving God. And when I look around the world, I can see that it's not a place that is very good at loving others. I'm really lucky in my friends and family that the people I know are fantastic. But none of us manage to really care deeply for everybody all of the time. We're not able to do it. And I've just heard so many really, really hard stories recently. Just a couple of days ago, I heard about a 13-year-old who'd been raped, and that sort of thing, I think, just must devastate God, because I really do believe he cares deeply about everybody on earth, and I think he cares deeply about the earth. And I think he's a just God. I think we sometimes get into this mindset where we think, well, he's God, he's just going to forgive everyone and that's fine. But I think he gets really cross when we treat each other awfully and when terrible things happen, because I think he genuinely cares about each of us, and he hates to see that hurt. And because of that, I think there are consequences to what we do, because I don't think it's okay to say, you've done this terrible thing, but don't worry, you're fine. I think that's not how God works. He's like, no, there's hurt here and there has to be consequences. And I don't think I can atone for the bad things in my life. I don't think I can ever make up for it. You can't just be extra good another day and that pain has gone for that person that you've hurt. The pain's there, and they might forgive you, but you can't always fix what's broken. And I believe that's why Jesus came, because I think that Jesus is God, and he came down, and Jesus was the part of God that became human and lived this perfect life. And I think when he died on the cross, if you're not perfect, then you can't stand being in heaven, because it's just, yeah, this sort of perfect place. And I think he sort of took all of my shame, all of my guilt, all of the stuff I'd done wrong, and kind of stood trial for me, and just gave me the right that when I'm in a relationship with God and God's like, what have you done? I can point to Jesus and be like, look, he's made it right for me. And I'm really grateful for that. And one of the big things that I get asked is like, well, surely God will just save everybody if Jesus died for everyone. But I still think God gives us a choice. Like, I don't think you have you don't have to trust Jesus, you don't have to trust God, and you don't have to spend eternity with him. Personally, I think it's an amazing option, and I don't understand why people wouldn't want to, but if you don't, I don't think it's forced on you. And I think there's pictures of that throughout the Bible, where like Moses leading people through the desert, like God took them to the promised land and said, here you go, feel free going in, and they were like, nope, not for me. So they didn't, and I think that's the same with heaven. I think heaven is where God is, and you're very welcome there, but you don't have to go, and the decision is ours. Yeah, so that's a bit about what I believe, and why I believe it. I'm now training to be a Methodist minister, not because I particularly want to be a Methodist minister, but it's something that God asked me to do, and I like living my life based on what I think he's asking me to do. So I'm going to do it. So thank you for listening to me. Very happy to answer questions if you ever want to ask me about my faith. And have a lovely day. Bye.